Good morning everybody and welcome into an exciting little video where today we are back with the minifigure scale LEGO Hyrule Castle to announce the winner of the competition, and I'll be showing you guys a little bit of progress that's being made towards the goal of having the ground layer of this huge project done by the end of the year. But of course the main focus of today is to take a look at the 10 wonderful entries I received for this competition in no particular order. This brief for this competition was nice and open. It was just to build a room that would go behind one of the blocked off passages in the castle. It could be sensible or silly, didn't mind a little bit of multiversing here or there. I had some fantastic entries from some really talented builders, and we had 3 amazing judges that had a look at them. So before we dive in, I'd like everyone to give a big thank you to those amazing judges. It was nice to be able to watch the submissions come in and leave all the hard decisions up to such amazing people, and it's been really wonderful how supportive all of them have been into helping me with this project and giving up the time to do this as well. And that's all 3 of them: HeroofThyme, Faron Mocs, or otherwise known as Zawada, and BrickWizardStudios, and they all brought different thought processes and so much passion to their judging. So please give them a big round of applause in the comments. But I'm not going to waste any time. We've got 10 amazing submissions to take a look at. So the first submission we have is a castle model room submitted by Kelly. This is a smaller one designed to be a place for King Rome to retreat to when he's constructing a model of Hyrule Castle. There's a lot of wax around from these candles and a bookcase in the corner, and of course you've got to have those royal banners around the back. I particularly like all the candles piled up. Feels very fantasy-like, and I can see a little bit of Song of Ice and Fire in there too, but also just so Zelda-y as well. But let's see what our judges had to say. Starting with Joseph, very cool idea. King Rome has got to have some hobbies to decompress after leading a kingdom. The scale model of Hyrule Castle is very recognizable, and the use of various 1x1 round elements to show the use of candles is a nice touch. HeroofThyme spoke, as a guy whose side hobby is building Lego sets and whatnot, I completely relate to this and gave me a reason to like the king. The miniature castle build is also very cute. And BrickWizardStudios spoke, a good idea, well made and a nice little room which could portray a cool Easter egg in the castle. I agree entirely. But let's move on to our second submission, which is from Croshau, which I may be saying wrong, who did also submit a video, which I will have linked in the description. His submission recreates the Chris Houlihan room from Link to the Past, which is an inspired idea to have the first Easter egg from the series be in this model. I've loved how so many different ideas have come out of this competition, and honestly I wish we could include them all, which I realise is cliche for me to say at this point in the process, but don't worry, there is a winner and only one winner. Onto our judge comments though. HeroofThyme spoke, a nice callback to a classic Easter egg. I can easily see this being a hidden room in the basement mines. From Joseph Zawada we have, the Chris Houlihan room is such a great piece of Legend of Zelda lore. I'm glad to see it represented here. I feel we don't get as many hidden details like this in the new Legend of Zelda installments. And BrickWizardStudios added, someone really understood the assignment by reminding us of the original room Easter egg. Simple design but a great idea. Okay. On to our third entry, which comes to us from Joshbrickworld, who some of you may know from his Instagram, which is linked below. His submission was particularly interesting as it links to the wider LEGO universe, implementing a Blacktron base into the castle. It has a secret wall entrance that the castle soldiers can discover the base through, as well as of course the inverted Triforce, which is the Blacktron 1 symbol, which is what makes this such a fun joke. They also have a microscale 77092 Deku Tree on display, which of course I love, but it's the nod to any Zelda fan who's familiar with Classic Space that really makes me smile here, as it's a little bit cheeky and self-referential. But let's hear from our judges. HeroofThyme said, the reference to another LEGO figure is enjoyable. They remind me of Hyrulean soldiers. I do really like the build for the bear rug as well. Joseph said, the use of Blacktron elements to use as a Triforce is a wonderful idea. The techniques used to construct the walls of the room is really great and it makes it look worn down. I also love the many small details like the bed, rug and the microscale Great Deku Tree. And BrickWizardStudios added, once again the idea itself is great, something I'd never have thought of myself. The room is designed very cleanly and shows a certain level of brick proficiency. Submission number 4 brings us to a build from Denton Builds 458, who has another timeline bending concept for us. So this is a subway or tube station if you're from the UK that's based off the castle. that's based in the castle to connect the Nintendo-verse together. We can see signs for the Mushroom Kingdom accessible through this warp pipe behind a Mario-shaped brick cutout, just like we saw in the Mario movie, and the train tracks suggest that this is the way to Final Destination, the Smash stage, as far as I know, and that's super cute. I do like the idea of these stories of Hylian envoys being sent off to other kingdoms through public transport, and of course, how Link gets around to all his Mario Kart competitions and stuff. And it seems like our judges agreed. BrickWizard started. One of my absolute favourites, since I value great ideas a lot. The concept here is just so good, something to remind us once again that Zelda is one amongst various great Nintendo themes. The Moc is also pretty well done. It captures the vibe of an underground train station very well. From HeroofThyme, a great nod to Mario for sure, but feels out of place just unless a bit build up with other references. And from Zawada, I am always a huge fan of incorporating other beloved IPs into my builds. We can have instances of Link visiting the Mushroom Kingdom like in Mario Kart 8. Why can't Mario take a trip to Hyrule? I really like the attention to detail with the custom signposts. I agree with you there, 100%. Okay, so entrant number 5. Unfortunately, this one can't really count, and this is because it's been submitted by our very own judge, HeroofThyme, who was inspired by the competition to put something together for the video. And then I was just a little sneaky and sent it to our judges as if it was an entry. Sorry about that, guys, but I know you like this one a lot, but it could never have won. That being said, it is an incredible model that both of the other 2 judges thoroughly enjoyed. The story goes that this was the late Queen of Hyrule's private garden, filled with ethereal species and statues of legend from the past, lit only by a sky window. It's mysterious why everything grew as well as it did. But in the years since her passing, the plants have overgrown the family portrait and the already crumbling statues. It's built such atmosphere, and I really appreciate that. BrickWizard spoke, a great entry. A lot of cool details can be seen here. This Moc mainly convinces by its quality and look rather than by its outstanding concept. And from Faron Mocs we have, absolutely beautiful build. It reminds me of the gardens in the castle courtyard in Ocarina of Time. I like the attention to detail with variations in the wall, fountain textures, and to show the age of the non-neglected garden. The spilled water is another great attention to detail. Yep, all agreed there. Okay, back to legitimate entries now. We're at the halfway point. Time to talk about entry number 6, which comes to us from Antoine, who has made a playroom for the princess. This fits perfectly with the pre-calamity time frame of the castle, and it's very striking to me, specifically because of how colourful it is. Of course, a playroom would not be left as a stone grey structure. Besides that, it's gotten creative with the choo-choo hiding behind the stuffed toys, which just is so sad to see this lovable little guy down there, and hopefully the children appreciate him. And who doesn't love a ball pit or the microscale Hyrule castle to play with? It's all very, very sweet. As for our judges' feedback, Zawada said, a very cute build. I really appreciate the variety of toys included to make the space feel authentic. The microscale Hyrule castle was a great touch. HeroofThyme added, it's super cute, and I love the thought that an old nursery or play area for Zelda when she was younger. And from BrickWizard, a nice little adorable room with lots of little details like the microscale castle and much more. I also like the whole idea of having a playroom for the young princess. Our judges in consensus there. But it's 7th entry time! We have Benjamin's Ancient Secret Engineer Workshop, a place deep in the caverns where the Divine Beasts were designed. I'm loving the use of Technic beams around the walls. There's a hidden Korok and lots of machinery, including of course 4 wonderfully detailed scale models of the beast which look fantastic. Perhaps they were prototypes. Very fitting for the castle basements of course, as we see lots of rooms like this, or potential ideas of what rooms like this could look like from Breath of the Wild. We also have their workstation over in the corner with some nice little building techniques. I spot some snot, and it looks like they were Nintendo fans too, judging by a row of characters along the top. Our judges had lots to say about this one. BrickWizard started with a great idea regarding the backstory and the events from 100 years ago. A lot of cool details to see here too, especially the micro models of the Divine Beasts. Faron Mocs added, lots of great stuff going on here. The build really recreates the aesthetic of Sheikah technology very well. I love the inclusion of a Korok seed. And finishing up with HeroofThyme, it's super creative and something I can see being in the castle as a means for the Sheikah to continue their studies of the ancient technology in closeness to the king, or Zelda when the king isn't looking, aside from the labs are found around Hyrule. Okay, we have 3 entries left, and number 8 comes from Superminister, who has a lovely little rubricable page, which I've also linked down below. This submission was another super creative idea, the Milk Bar, this time Castle Edition, which translates the Majora's Mask version of this location into a place for the castle soldiers to relax. All Of all the things to love here, I particularly enjoy the elements of diner aesthetic that have translated across, giving this model such a strong identity, alongside all the little references such as like there being a Tingle picture and then the Kakariko windmill on the wall. The cow patterning on the bar is amazing, and of course, the fact that it fits so well into the castle is just great. But let's see what our judges had to say. From Zawada, this build is great. I'm always a proponent of Easter eggs and callbacks to previous installments in the Legend of Zelda series. I love the execution of the cow print floor. The bone guitar is especially cool, all caps there. And from HeroofThyme, a nice place for the guards to kick back and relax after a long day. An Easter egg to Majora's Mask is always a welcome addition, with extra points for creative attention to detail. Though I feel this might be better suited to a castle town rather than the castle itself. Fair enough, but I'm not making a castle town, so this will have to do. And BrickWizardStudios said, a great mock which not only shows great love and attention to detail, but also looks incredibly clean and well built. Also nice to have such a cool reference to another Zelda game, and I think I have to agree with that one, but I don't get a vote. Our penultimate entry though, comes from PB Builds, who also made a video for his submission, which I've linked below. It was a lovely little watch. This is once again another spectacular concept, which is sort of hard to explain. It's having a room that is a level from the TT video games. It basically performs a what if a Lego Zelda game existed and brings all of the tropes and iconic details into brick form. I really want to shout out the fact that the studs are on transparent clear ones underneath, which makes them float, which is true care and attention to detail that can only be got from someone who's just truly a fan of what they're doing, which I really appreciate seeing. And I also have a super soft spot for the fact that you can play through this level too. But let's hear from our judges. From HeroofThyme, this put a smile on my face and made me really want a Lego Zelda video game. I felt nostalgic just looking at it and its implications. I also like the Bokoblin build. From BrickWizard, just the idea is great already, especially for those for whom the games have played a big role in their childhood. Some very cool references in here too. And from Zawada, very cool execution here. Reimagining Legend of Zelda as a TT Lego game is a great concept, and the Bokoblin is done very well. And last by no means least, we have a submission from Pixeli. This is a small offshoot room, perhaps behind a bombable wall, that opens out to a scrub shop, like the ones we find in Ocarina of Time. We have a chibi sprout, some appropriate rockwork, and a table where this one is selling a Deku stick, empty bottles, and a red potion. Once again, it's just such a clever use for these spaces, and our judges seem to agree. From Zawada, we had, this is such a fun build. The Deku Scrub is such a delightful character, and you did a wonderful job recreating them. The rough stone walls remind of the hidden grottos that are found across many different Zelda games. From HeroofThyme, I would have loved to see the Dekus included in Breath of the Wild. The absence of some classic Zelda creatures was a bit of a letdown, and again, I can see this in the basement subsections, only accessible by a bombable wall, just like in the old games. And our last judge's comment from BrickWizardStudios. A small one, but certainly one that isn't missing character. A good job well done building the Deku and the rock formation. And that's it. This is the moment where we find out the winner. If you've skipped through the builds just to find out, shame on you. Go check out all of our wonderful talented builders and leave a comment about which ones you like down below. I asked all the judges to provide scores, and while I won't be sharing those today, once I'd properly posted them and aligned them, the winner, runner-up, and the joint third places all scored within 2 points of each other, which wasn't expected, but makes things nice and tense, doesn't it? The question, of course, remains. I came into this as tough as nails, only one winner, and I stand by that. Only one of these entries will be taken one for one and placed into the castle. But you've all done so well, and you're some amazingly talented builders. I hope that I have the opportunity to work with some of you again, because you're all so creative and talented. So this is sort of an open invitation, I guess. If you've ever got ideas, I can't make any promises. I'm more than happy to have a look and see what we can do in the future. But I've just been blown away by how talented you all are, and how grateful I am that you guys gave time for this competition, and hopefully it will be worth it for you as well. Of course, every one of you got to choose a piece for the treasure room. I'm showing that on screen now, but don't worry if you don't see your piece. It is probably being used as a placeholder, but I've got every piece properly written down for when this eventually does get turned into real life. And even if I never find a way to do the castle, the treasure room will make it into real life. So don't worry, this will eventually enter the Octane collection. It will just be, once the castle's finished in digital, I'll build it in real life, just this room, or when it actually gets put into the real castle, if I ever work up that much money, which is a scary scary thought, but yes, so I know for some of you that picked more molded parts, Studio just doesn't have it, so it's here. But anyways, sorry, enough faffing around. Let's do this. Let's work out who the winner is. So the winner of the Hyrule Castle competition, room competition, is Superminister with the milk bar build. Congratulations! You had the most votes from our judges, and it was clear how much you just poured into the build. The pictures on the wall to the instruments, and just how well you nailed the combination of castle and original milk bar. I can't wait to have a place for our castle soldiers to relax and wind down in the basement levels. Also sets a nice little theme for the surrounding corridor, and it's actually very close to the prisons and clean water pumps, so they can go there after a long day's work guarding the inmates. For curiosity's sake, second place went to Benjamin Shikalab, and a joint third place between Pixeli and PB Builds as well. So you guys all did amazingly, and as I said, it was super tight, and I'm not even exaggerating. Everybody, in fact, was within 5 points of the leader, so it was a really tight race, and you're also wonderfully talented. For our winner, I better get to work getting your build into the castle. The next castle update is due in early January, which should give me time to spruce up the surroundings around your fantastic room. And as for current castle progress, well, the East Passage is complete. I won't be showing it to you in detail today, but here are a couple of renders on screen showcasing the roller coaster track, the ice Korok puzzle, and of course the eventual location of the Talus and where this module connects to the library. You'll get to see the finished passage, which has been very hard to photograph, and some more ground floor progress alongside Superminister's build being included into the castle in the January update, which I believe is scheduled for January 10th. And then the ground floor will be finished in a proper castle video another couple of months after that, or I want to say early spring. I don't know, we'll figure it out. Don't worry though, I know my goal is obviously to have the ground floor complete by the end of 2024. That will still happen. You will hear about it on the community tab and on my Instagram page when it happens. I just have too much content right now, so the actual videos going over it in detail will be spread out into 2025. But I'm realizing no one cares. So once again, thank you so much for entering. If you didn't submit, let me know your favorite submissions down below. But as always, be nice. If you're looking to get involved, I just put out a call for artists. Our next community project isn't a competition, instead an activity where I'm looking to remaster the first series of Zelda collectible minifigures I did on the channel to celebrate 5 years of the CSS for early next year. We're going to hopefully have them in different art styles, so if you have free time or fancy drawing a minifig, let me know. Hopefully it will turn into a beautiful collage of 16 different styles by the end. As always, thank you so much for being here. Thank you again to our wonderful judges, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye bye.